Hey everybody, we have a little bit of change in plans. We announced last week that we were going to be going over maybe our reading book list, and we are going to do that, but we're going to do that on the second part of the show. We announced last week that we were going to start a sourdough series starting from scratch with our starter, and we are starting that now. Well, we didn't know when we would be baking the bread because I just didn't know how long it was going to take for the starters. And actually, some of my starter is ready to make bread. So we've been telling the people we're going to make bread tonight live. We're going to get our dough ready. And so for the first part of the show, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. But one thing I need to tell you is that we're in the middle of a thunderstorm right now. And we could lose power. We're hoping not to lose power. But anyway, we're going to just roll with the flow and see what happens. So I've done two starters, one that is a white flour starter and one that is a whole wheat starter. And we're going to start with our white flour starter. Tommy, is it good? Should I keep going?
Keep going.
Everything's going? Okay. All right. And I'm going to do it two ways. I'm going to do it with my KitchenAid mixer, which you can use other mixers too. I have another kind of mixer I've tried to do bread in. I haven't tried to do it since I've learned how to do bread in a mixer though. But anyway, I'm gonna do the white bread, the white sourdough in my KitchenAid, and then the other one I'm gonna do by hand. Okay, so the recipe has been listed several times. Tommy, is it gonna be listed today too? We'll list it today too. So this is a little something different, but we're just gonna roll with the flow and just hopefully y'all learn something new, or maybe you can add in some pointers. But it calls for 1.5 cups of warm water.
You mentioned that we're recording this too.
No, I thought no. And also, we're recording this. So if some of our people that are following us, if it's not their day to make their sourdough or whatever, they can look at it later. Or if you want to rewatch it, because I kind of go fast. I didn't realize how fast I was until Tommy recorded me making biscuits. And I thought he had put it on fast forward, and it was just my normal speed. So I don't mean to try and rush and go fast, but it's just, I guess, kind of my way. All right, then it calls for 1 cup of starter. All right, I'm gonna keep this because I'll pour my oil in here. All right, we'll turn this on just to mix that. Then it calls for 1/4 cup of sugar. How's my volume with this mixer going too? Okay. And I do start with the paddle. I have my dough hook here that I will change to, and that's just the best way I found to do it. I know Redhead Homestead, he's used this the whole time, the dough hook, but I usually start off with my paddle. All right, and I go over my recipe numerous times because I'm scared I'm going to forget something. So I have 1 cup of starter, 1.5 cups of warm water, 1/4 cup of sugar. Now, if you were wanting to do a quicker rise in your loaves, you could add a tablespoon of yeast right now. But we're not. We're going to do traditional sourdough with no yeast, no store-bought yeast, just natural yeast. So, all right, now I'll add my tablespoon of salt. And I love this little spoon, adjustable spoon that goes from a tablespoon down to a teaspoon, and I have one that goes from a teaspoon down to, I think, 1/4 of a teaspoon. I love them. Makes it quicker. Oh, when we start mixing the dough in, when this starts getting the dough. All right. Now, it calls for 1/2 cup of oil, and I'm just using regular vegetable oil on this loaf. This is how I make it for the farmer's market. Ooh, that's a little bit too much. Okay, now the only thing left to add is the flour. So tie that up a little bit. And it should have around 6 cups of flour. Sometimes it takes less, sometimes it takes a little more. So I'm going to start adding it in, and I add it fairly quick the first few cups, and then I slow down And this is not real precise because it's never the same amount. It depends on the moisture in the air. Any questions or anything while I'm doing this? 2 cups.
I don't think we put all of this information, this part of the recipe in the video. We'll look at that later.
2, 3 cups. That's 4. Now it's not mixing in real good. It's got some flour to the side, so I'll let it catch up until I continue to add more. And what I'm looking for is for a nice dough consistency where it's actually pulling away from the sides. Here's 5 cups. So like I said, I take my time. Now, right about now, I'm going to put my dough hook on.
Man.
Lots of thunder, lightning. And the way I'll do that is I'll get my last cup of flour and I just sprinkle a little bit on that dough so I can pull it off of there. And see, it doesn't stick to my hands awful bad. Now, I won't do any hand kneading to this dough. I'll let my machine do it for me.
Off the Grid Homestead, who just joined us today, said, "Don't ruin it for me. I'm only up to episode 3."
And this is the last cup of flour. I will add it gradually because sometimes it does not take all the flour. Though today I think it will take all of it and maybe plus some. When it's damp outside, it seems like it takes more flour.
Wanda said it's still sunny in their part of Mississippi. Well, it's lightening up a little bit here now. It's not quite as dark as it was, but I mean, it looked like nighttime here for a few minutes.
Yeah, I had to remind myself it was not even 5 o'clock yet. It looked like it was getting about 8 o'clock. That's when I looked at the weather and I thought, ooh, it's a bad band coming through.
Wanda, let us know when if Danny joins you at the computer.
Yeah, he needs to be watching where he can learn how to make him some sourdough too, huh, Wanda? Tommy's learned a lot through this series. I think he could really do it himself, though he's never been a bread maker. Yeah, you can come show it. Tommy's going to move the camera in where you can kind of see how the dough is looking, how it's starting to pull away from the sides.
Tell me what to do. Look at the TV.
Up a little bit, Tommy. You can go up a little bit. Yeah, I think that's good. You can see how it's pulled away from the sides. It's almost taken the whole cup. And then I want to show you something else. It don't seem real necessary right now with this, but sometimes it needs to be pulled down a little bit, and I'll put a little flour on it just where it won't be so sticky on my hands. Kind of pull it down and let it readjust itself, because sometimes it keeps a little bit of a sticky part. Can you see the consistency of the dough that it's turning into?
Look at the screen
a
for me,
smooth
please.
Consistency? Yeah, that's good. All right, I'm gonna turn it back on.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah, you can put it back down now. And you may be able to see a little bit more with the consistency of the dough when I do the next batch by hand, because I'm going to do it in a glass bowl, and I'll be able to move the bowl over to you. And see, I'm just going to check it and see. It's still a little sticky to me. It's getting a nice elasticity to it, but to me it's a little sticky. I'm gonna get a half a cup and add a little bit more, not the whole half cup, just a little bit more, and let me see. And while this is mixing, I'm gonna get my dish pan. I like to rise my bread in dish pans, and so to make sure it has enough room. And so I'm gonna be putting some oil in it and rubbing it around. I'm gonna do that and get that ready while this is finishing up.
No, Grandpa, she doesn't use the mixer for the market because she has to use too much dough. Has to mix up too much dough, and so no, that's all done by hand.
Yeah, I use those big gray dish pans that we bought at Sam's. Let's see, I'll just put quite a bit of oil, a generous amount of oil in here, and I'll rub it around. And the whole sides all the way up and on the bottom. Okay, I'm pleased with the consistency of this dough, so I'm going to take it out.
Well, Danny's there. Hey, Danny.
Hey, Danny.
Happy birthday. Hope you're having a great birthday, and if I'm going to do everything I can to see if the Lord will be willing to send you some of this rain for your birthday present.
Yes.
Patti, Grandpa's farm, how many loaves do you take to the market typically?
Lately I've been bringing about 15 different types of bread, whether it's been pans of rolls and stuff like that, or cinnamon bread. Okay, this is my dough. I could have added a little bit more flour to it, but you see it's really not sticking bad to my hands. It's got a good elasticity to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in this dish pan. I'm trying to look to see where you can see it. I'll put it in here, and then I'm going to turn it over. Yeah, Tommy, if you can help me. I just kind of press it down like this. I've got it pressed down, and then I'm going to actually turn it over where both sides are coated with oil. And my saran wrap is over across the kitchen on top of the refrigerator, but trust me, I'm going to cover this whole thing with saran wrap, and it's going to sit on the counter until morning. We're planning on making up the loaves of bread at 7 a.m. Central. That would be 8 Eastern. So this is our white bread.
And she's talking about we're going to be live on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll be live doing that. Tommy, would you set this over there, please? And we're going to start on our
einkorn.
Yeah, I actually used einkorn flour. To make my starter and everything. And I'm just going to use all einkorn wheat.
And we apologize for not being as responsive, getting to questions and stuff. We're kind of technically stretched right now. This is a different layout, and we're just kind of freaking making sure we get everything on film and all. So sorry about that.
Okay, we're going to do this bowl. Okay.
Krista says she didn't hear if you said how many loaves does this make. This is a 3-loaf recipe.
Yeah,
right?
It's a 3-loaf recipe. I used those little, would you get one, Tommy? They're in the bottom of the china cabinet over there. The little disposable metal pans, which I don't dispose of them. I use them for a whole farmer's market season. It'll make 3 nice loaves of those. Probably if you're using regular metal bread pans, it would make 2 nice sized loaves of those. All right, here's my 1.5 cups of water, warm water.
But you're actually not going to make 3 loaves, right? You're going to make a couple of loaves and a pan of rolls?
Yeah, we're going to be doing rolls and cinnamon bread, and I'm going to do a regular loaf of bread too with the einkorn because I've been wanting some bread and I'm going to try it. But this is the little pans that I'm talking about. It's a little smaller than your real metal pan that you can use. So.
Yeah, we love those food grade 5-gallon buckets, Grandpa. We love. They come in very handy, but never used it for this.
Oh yeah, that would be that's a good idea. Okay, and this is a cup of starter. Yeah, but I don't need a whole. I don't need a 5-gallon bucket of starter. Is that what he's talking about for starter?
I'm not sure. I may have missed it. What?
Yeah, because he used to make 200 loaves a week. Him and his wife, I think. Okay, here's my starter.
Jan found some, for smaller amounts, she found some 2-gallon food-safe buckets with lids at Lowe's.
I get a 2.5-gallon from Walmart in the bakery. They have icing that comes in it. I've gotten some of those, and that's a perfect size to be able to handle. I keep my sugar in that for the market. Okay, now, like I said, all right. Starter, warm water, sugar, 1/4 of a cup of sugar.
Here's a good question. Let me know when I can ask it.
If you were going to add yeast to this, where tomorrow, well, this rise and tomorrow's would be faster. Redhead Homestead, I think, by putting yeast, I think he said, and if he's on, let me know, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it took 2 to 2.5 hours for the first rise, and for the second rise, about 2 hours, and he was baking bread. That's really quick for sourdough, but that's because he followed my recipe where I add yeast. So if you wanted to do a faster and all in one day, you could add a tablespoon of yeast right now. Of course, you'd probably want to do that during the day and not in the evening. We're going to rise our bread all night. Go ahead with a question, Tom.
Jan says, Patti, is it possible that the stand mixer can overheat the dough if it goes too long? I don't know that we've ever...
I don't know.
We've never let it go very long.
I find that I get more flour added into it on the stand mixer. I really do. Because I think it's doing the hard work for me. So, and my son Corey has helped me mix it up. Tommy has too, but this year Corey has helped me the most when I was doing 2 pans, 24 loaves, and he would do a pan and I'd do a pan, and he could mix in more flour than me too, but he's a lot stronger. So, all right, a tablespoon of salt.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Brad at Big Family Homestead says, what's your biggest seller?
Regular sourdough bread. The cinnamon sourdough is pretty popular, but just a loaf of regular sourdough bread is the biggest seller.
Grandpa wants to know if you've tried flavorings like, he said his big sellers were sriracha, garlic, sun-dried tomato.
With sourdough? The sun-dried tomato? I've done some basil, and it'll sell fair. What was I going to... Oh, I'm doing some... breadsticks with Parmesan cheese, garlic, and parsley on top, and nothing new. It's just the sourdough dough, and add that on top, and that's a good seller.
But I think, probably because so many people remember in this area of the country, so many people remember their grandma's regular old sourdough bread, that may be the reason why the plain sourdough is pretty much the best seller.
All right, I'm going to use coconut oil. I told you you could use, whatever you want to use. This is for us, our personal bread, so I'm going to use coconut oil.
That's good, because there was a question about coconut oil, and there you go.
And I've never done it with coconut oil before, but, surely it should work. But also, I didn't mention this, but I would imagine this is all adults that know about good hygiene and everything. I do use my hands, but I washed my hands right before the show started. So anyway, wanted to make that note. And typically when I'm making bread for the market, I even will have my bangs slicked back with a bobby pin, and I have all my hair in a ponytail. So this is for my family, and I just tell them if there's a hair in it, my hair was clean, just take it out and, eat your bread. Which is probably not a good thing to do, but hopefully I won't have any hair in my bread. But definitely when I'm selling bread, I try and keep my hair pulled back. Okay, now let's see. That was starter, water, sugar, salt, and oil. So now I'm ready for my flour. I'm really not liking how this, my coconut oil was kind of loose and, not one big solid mass, but kind of melty. I don't know if you can see it moving in there. But I'm kind of not liking the way it looked in here, so I may have made a mistake. Maybe it should have been melted completely to the oil stage. but I don't think it would like ruin my bread. It may just make it a little harder for me to mix. All right, so there's 1 cup of flour, and I'll do this in twos. I'll do 2 cups and then maybe 2 cups and then 2 cups and see, or at least 2 cups to start with. And I stay with the spoon until it gets some of the stickiness goes away. How is this looking on there? You can see it?
Yeah, you can see it.
It's real soupy.
I'll turn it. Well, I'm gonna come turn it. Before I do, let me mention this. Kitty's Homestead mentioned, for all that are interested, she started a chat that was mentioned yesterday. We've been up at Lake Lincoln camping for a couple of days, but apparently there was discussion of a chat for anybody interested to chat when the live shows are not on. So apparently there's some information about it on Kitty's Homestead's About page on her YouTube channel, and in the info section there's some information. So I'm gonna have to check that out.
You know, there's some recipes like my French bread. You're gonna want to make sure you get the exact right amount and everything. With the sourdough, it's about 6 cups. All right, that's my 3rd cup. I'm gonna mix one at a time now. With the French bread, you're gonna want to measure it exactly, because you know that's a much drier dough. The sourdough is much more forgiving. You're kind of really, it's an estimate of 6 cups, give or take a little.
Is this frame good?
Yeah, that's good.
Now I'm not looking at the computer, so I can't answer any questions. We'll have to. This may end up being the whole show today. We may have to go back and look at questions and all that. We're going to play it by ear and see.
All right, this is my 4th cup.
And maybe we'll just not move the camera and all that, and you just stay over here and answer questions. I don't know. We'll see.
We're almost done, and we'll have 30 minutes left, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, this is what starts getting in my arm right here. Even in small amounts, it just,
Can you look
it's
at the screen?
thick.
Screen okay?
Yeah, it's good. Okay, that was 4. All right, this is 5. I still don't feel like it's not sticky enough to get my hands in yet. Maybe this will make it. Okay.
This might be easier in the big gray pan, huh?
Not with this small amount. I'll be chasing it
Oh
around,
yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna go ahead and get my other cup of flour ready. I'm getting a cramp in my hand from holding that spoon so long. I just kind of mixing around like this and just kind of start, kind of like the kneading process of kind of like folding it in. You see how sticky that is?
Have y'all noticed how this very tiny amount that she has spilled so far?
Well, I spill. I'm not a neat person.
I would look like Frosty the Snowman if I was doing this. It would be, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Okay. The dough it's starting to come together. You see it. See how it's looking more like dough instead of just stickiness. It's still rather sticky. And see, it gets on your hands, but as you're working, it comes off.
Yeah.
Except when Tommy and Corey does it. They have they get a lot of dough on their hands.
Dough up the hands, elbows. I'll have it in my hair.
Oh, no, you're exaggerating.
Maybe a little.
And the problem with this, and you know, if anybody that is short, they need to do this somewhere else. I'm 5'8" right at, and I'm on my tippy toes doing this to have enough room to push down, you know. So you might want to put it on your table or something to make it a little bit easier for you to be able to push it. But boy, this is a soft dough. It feels so good. All right, that was 6 cups, but I'm going to get me a half a cup again. Now remember, I told you it's raining here, and sometimes that makes you have to add a little bit more flour. It makes your dough a little stickier.
So you're now going beyond the recipe just by feel.
Yeah, because it was too sticky.
And what is too sticky? Can you talk about that a little? Because I know others, they're going to want to know that.
It's still sticking to my hands. You see how sticky that is? You don't want it white with flour.
But, so you're saying you don't want any stickiness?
No. Well, I mean, you don't want to touch it and it stick to your hands.
Okay.
And you don't be able to pull your hands off. It's still sticking. Like I showed them with the other flour when I had touched it. It felt a little sticky still.
A little tacky.
But it wasn't sticking to my hands. And as I'm working this flour in, this is kneading. This is kneading my bread while I'm working this flour in. And boy, it's a lot easier to work making a 3-loaf batch than it is a 12-loaf batch.
Twice.
Whew, yeah. And Corey really was good about helping me. I think I only had to do it twice, 2 times. And the other times that I made the 24, he did 12 and I did 12, so. It's almost there. And you could just add a little bit at a time. You'll see when it gets to the point where it won't take any more flour. You'll be feeling like you're working yourself to death, and your shoulders and your arms will be tired.
My shoulders are tired now.
Yeah, mine are getting tired too. Okay. Now, I'm pleased with the way this feels. It's a little sticky, you can see, but it's not sticking so much to my hands.
Look at the screen, make sure you got it where it needs to be.
You could probably put the camera down now.
All right.
But anyway, well, I may put a little bit more flour on it.
All right. Look at the screen.
Yeah, it's good. I'm just adding a little bit more flour to it because it was just a tad bit sticky when I felt of it. So I put about 6½ cups of flour in this.
All right, I'm going to scroll way back up.
But you see how much faster, well, I say that, I think it took about 15, well, we talked a little bit at first, though. It is faster doing the mixer, but it really doesn't take that long to make this bread. And, especially if you don't have a real large family, or even if you do, you can do a double batch of this. But, this will last. This should be a few days worth of bread right here, even for, 4 or 5 people, unless you just eat a ton of bread. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my pan. Put some oil. I'm going to do my coconut oil again.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll tell you that Krista, and I think she's talking about the coconut oil. She says I use it all the time, clumpy like that, and it incorporates fine into the dough.
Well, and Krista, I noticed that I should have said that when I was working. It just like disappeared, so it's fine. I think it's gonna work just fine. But I guess I do other bread recipes that most of mine, well, I'll put butter in, and I'll just have a room temperature, or even I'll cut it up into little chunks and put it in my, my liquid, and it disappears into it too. So.
Now, I don't know if this is Danny or Wanda saying they're gluten-free and can't eat that type of bread. Man, this is terrible. Well,
that's why I'm trying this bread. I am gluten-free too, but the sourdough, I have heard, I'm going to do the same thing, y'all. I'm going to put it in this way.
I can't see it. There you go.
And then I'm going to turn it over where both sides are coated, like that. And I'm going to put saran wrap over it and let it rise all night. At 7 o'clock in the morning, we're going to go live and we're going to put it in our loaves. So anyway, that's the end of the bread making.
Let's see if we.
But anyway, I was having some health issues, and I went gluten free, and I realized that that's a lot of the reason that I ache all over was the gluten. This is einkorn flour, which is an heirloom flour, and this is what I'm going to eat. The white bread flour I'm probably going to give away. The white bread, the sourdough that I'm making is going to be given away. But the sourdough process is supposed to really reduce the gluten, and it breaks it down. It makes it easier to digest, and it breaks down the proteins. Plus, this wheat is called einkorn, E-I-N-K-O-R-N, and it only has like 13 chromosomes, and it's got a low gluten, like the wheat today has like 40 something chromosomes, I think, from what I remember reading. And I haven't read it lately, so I could be wrong on that a little bit. But wheat has changed over the years, and it's got a lot more gluten in it than it used to. And I feel like that's why so many people have such issues with it. I'm hoping, I've tried this einkorn wheat with sourdough one time with using yeast, which is a faster way to make sourdough bread. That I'm doing this traditional sourdough with no bought yeast. It's just wild yeast, so it's a longer fermentation process. I'm hoping really bad that I can eat this. So
there's a link to the einkorn wheat in the description, and you can go check that out and do some research and see.
But right now, we're fixing to change our cameras around and get back over there. I'm going to go sit by Tommy, and we can continue the conversation.
Well, hang on just a second. Let me make sure we don't have any important bread-making questions about this that might need to be included. Grandpa says, how often do you punch it down? I'm not sure. You understand that?
Yeah, but well, you know, we can continue talking about this in just a minute. Let's go ahead and get this moved over here. I'm gonna get the saran wrap over it. But as far as I'm gonna answer Grandpa's question, the punching down, when it rises up, it's gonna rise up all night long without being touched. In the morning at 7 o'clock, I'm gonna punch it down, knead it a little bit, and then I'm gonna put it in loaves. So that's the only time, just one time. Well, it only has two risings, once overnight, and then once when it's in the loaves, and then we'll bake it. So.
All right.